food insecurity in the country. I'm Frida Ross, Arkansas News Service. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
Take care, Grandma.
Okay, baby. Don't forget to let me know the second you get there.
Yes, ma'am.
My grandson always tells me I worry about him too much. And of course I do. I'm his grandma. Well, I was worried sick when he came home from Afghanistan. He came back wounded. It wasn't a wound you could see. It was a wound inside. Post-traumatic stress disorder. My T couldn't sleep. He was angry all the time. He felt like he didn't fit in anywhere. Then I heard about this group, Wounded Warrior Project. People helping warriors like T. So I figured who better to help my grandson than people who could understand what he'd been through. Now, I don't know what they do there, but my T is smiling again. So I figured they must be good people.
1 out of every 5 warriors return from the battlefield with post-traumatic stress disorder. Help support them at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Did you know that your health insurance is going to get more expensive? Many Arkansas households will lose their coverage because the president and his allies in Congress want to take away funding that helped thousands of households in Arkansas buy health insurance. They would rather give billionaires big tax breaks instead of helping working families get the care they need. The end result, insurance premiums get more expensive for everyone. Now the president and his allies refuse to negotiate with those representatives and senators who want to continue to help families stay healthy. Instead, they would rather shut down the government and fire thousands of federal employees. Call your U.S. representative and senator today. Tell them to help Arkansas families get the health care they need instead of shutting down the government and firing federal employees. For more information and the phone number for your U.S. representatives and senators, call Arkansas Community Organizations today at 501-376-7151, extension 1.
Vendors, this is your moment. Be a part of the 11th annual Dunbar Oktoberfest. Boots on the ground, lift every legacy. Happening Saturday, October 25th at 14th and Daisy Base in the historic Dunbar neighborhood. We're calling food trucks, boutiques, crafters, artists, and community brands to join the excitement. Spaces are going fast and the crowds are big, and it's free to the public. To reserve your vendor spot today, call 501-612-9698. That's 501-612-9698. Don't miss your chance to be a part of this historic community celebration.
Are we supposed to be moving over there? Turn the phone up.
You have to turn it up.
Oh, turn it up. It was all the way up.
It's moving.
If you all have your, oh, wait a minute. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. If you are able to hear us, whether you're on Facebook, can you all let us know whether you can hear us through the radio? Okay, turn on your radios, 88.3 FM, KABF 88.3 FM. Let us know if you can hear us on the radio. But I wanted this. My song comes through here. See, I can. And you said you can't hear on the
I
radio?
can't hear it through the radio.
We're experiencing some technical difficulties. Right here at KBF 88.3 FM. You can hear me?
Go ahead and talk.
KABF 88.3 FM. You are live right here at KABF 88.3 FM. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. You are live at KABF 88.3 FM, 2101 Main Street, right here in Little Rock.
I can hear you.
Area code.
I can't. It's not coming through on your phone.
72206. I don't think I'm doing anything differently than I usually do. Let's go to here. Let's go to here. Got the audio on. So you want to go see if you hear the song?
Uh-huh.
Okay. It sounds better. we want to make sure that you know how grateful we are for you being here, because we would not be alive if it were not for you. And I just can't say that enough. I want to make sure that I say it every single chance I get, because it's so easy for us to forget. It's so easy for us to take people for granted. It's so easy for us to become complicit in some other systems that keep us from loving each other the way that we should. And so I'm going to love on y'all as many times as I can. So thank you all for joining us this morning. I want to make sure that, I do have a couple of announcements that I need to make. Tony, do you have any announcements?
No announcements this morning.
No announcements this morning. Okay. I do have a couple of announcements. Let me make them really, I don't want to say really quickly because I'm not trying to, let's see. I know I have announcements because I clicked them. Well, one of them is to make sure that you are aware of the celebration of life for Miss Major. Okay. Lola, your girl Lola said she can hear. Thank you, Lola. Your girl Lola. So we talked about Miss Major, Macy Griffin, on last week. We were holding space for her. So need you to know this. Our beloved Miss Major Griffin Gracie has gone on to glory. Please help us celebrate her life this Saturday, October 25th at 11 a.m. at the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center, 501 West 9th Street, right here in Little Rock. Again, that's Saturday, October 25th. It is the Celebration of Life service that starts at 11 a.m. at the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center, 501 West 9th Street, celebrating the life of Miss Major Griffin Gracie. I definitely wanted to bring that up so that you can know, but also because it's part of our conversation on today. So I wanted to make sure that we grounded our space first in the song that, again, comes from that AI-generated voice that we used last week. The Zania Monet, that's the name of the voice. The person behind the voice is a Black woman from Mississippi, Black woman entrepreneur. Her name is Talisha Nikki Jones, who just signed a $3 million contract because of the work that she's doing with these AI-generated tools. And so I've been listening to the voice more and more and more, and that's how I got this particular song, The Price of Peace. And so when we're listening to the voice talk, we hear this kind of, what I hear is this kind of lament. I'm celebrating and I'm lamenting at the same time. I'm celebrating the fact that I finally got to this place where I could choose me. I finally got to the place where I could choose peace over and above anything else. I finally found my light again, my voice. I finally realized the purpose that I have for being here, my mission and my God. Like, I am clear on that. But in order to get to that place, in order to be clear in my own head, in order to honor my own self, I had to let go of some things, yes. But some behaviors I had to let go of, yes. But I also had to let go of some people. And some of the people that I had to let go of, I loved them dearly, still do. Some of the people I had to let go of, I had to say, I have to still pray for them. Sometimes I still pray for them. I wish they could understand me. I wish they would get it. I wish they would realize that me choosing me has nothing to do with them. The very first two lines of the song said, I didn't leave them because I stopped loving them. That's not what happened. What happened was I started loving me. And so this duality that she's dealing with making sure that she's able to be true to herself while realizing the pain that that's going to cause as it severs relationships. That's what the song is all about. And she goes through all of this. And I think I don't think that's my favorite line, but one of my favorite lines in the song is, peace got louder and God got clear. So she's trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to navigate this world? How am I going to deal with it, especially with everything that's going on the outside? The external factors are enough. But for me to also have to deal with these internal factors, my inner circle, my family, my friends, my church, my work, all of this, something is going to have to give. And the louder peace called my name. The louder peace called my name. And the more I understood what God was saying, my God, the way I understand God was saying to me, I knew that this was the right step to make. And that's something that we have to do right now in this world. We have to follow this same guide. We got to figure out what's more important for us. Is our peace more important than the relationship, or is the relationship more important than my peace? Is my peace more important than the benefits I'm going to get from this relationship, or my peace? Is my peace more important than the complicity that I am in these systems? What's more important? You have to make the decision. But if you choose peace, peace costs something. And in the song, she says, peace costs everything. And so basically it sounds like to me that she hit rock bottom and all she had was peace. But that was enough for her because no matter how much it cost, she said, I didn't mind paying the bill. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today in terms of relationships with each other. And I'll tell you a minute how I got to this space. But first, let me also give you the tidbit for today. This actually happened on October 26th. Today's October 21st, but on October 26th in the year 1866, Texas passes a law providing that Black people cannot testify in court unless the defendant is Black or the crime charged was committed against a Black person. So in 1866, the only way that you could testify in court if you were a Black person is if the person that was being accused, prosecuted, was Black, or the crime that was being charged was committed against a Black person. That's the only way that you could get in. And so when I started thinking about that, I said, sometimes we don't think things through. Don't let me talk about anybody else. Sometimes I don't think things all the way through. And that's one of the things I try to do all the time, because when we don't think things all the way through, we miss stuff. And as I started just really thinking about what this means to have Black people only in court when they are deciding the guilt of another Black person, or whether they are judging another Black person's character or morals or ethics, the only time that you were able in 1866 was to show up in court was if you were coming against your own person in this capacity in testifying in court. But I started thinking about what that looks like beyond the courthouse, Black people in particular, but this is for everybody, because remember, at Community Voices, we center Blackness in the context of the human story. So just because Blackness is at the center doesn't mean that excludes everybody else. All of us are here, a part of the story, and all of us have a role to play. That's the spirit of Sawubona that says we're going to honor everybody's humanity, however you show up. But in the context of Blackness, when we take it out of the courtroom, what does it look like for us to think about and remember our bodies, ourselves, remember that what we used to do with each other in public, what we were allowed to do according to the law, was judge each other. And how much of that is still going on? How much of that do we still carry today, where what we do with each other is judge each other? That's helping us shape this conversation this morning, with Zania Monet saying, I'm going to choose peace. And with the EJI tidbit saying, what would it cost you to choose this peace? What would it cost you to step outside of the system that allowed you only to do these things because you were Black, and say, no, I'm going to dismantle that system, and I'm going to show you what it means to be Black. I'm going to show you what it means to live my truth. I'm going to show you what it means to honor my people. I'm going to show you what it means to choose me and not be afraid, and not allow you to use me as a weapon against somebody else that looks like me. That's what the conversation is about. Tony, you want to say something?
Oh, wow, that's a lot when you talk about peace. And also when you think about how society and how these systems were created to box in Black people, to regulate their choices and regulate their lives to only these certain things that they could do. A lot of that is still plays out. You hear people who will say there's no racism in America anymore, and you have to push back on them and say, yes, it is, because the system that has been created here in America is a system rooted in racism and continues to flourish. And so it's great when we have these discussions. It's great when we have these conversations to point out certain things. And I love the tidbits because there have been times that people have called me or emailed me or texted me and seen me on the street. And the first thing they said, oh, that Tuesday daily tidbit, I did not know that. And as the conversation goes on, then you can actually show them, connect the dots to what's happening now. And people are so amazed, like, wow, I did not know. And it says, great. Now the thing about it, now that you know, now you need to have the conversation about it. You need to get in spaces where you can discuss it. And let's face it, everybody's not going to want to have the discussion. Everybody's not going to want to have be in that space. Everybody's not going to agree, but just because you don't agree, just because you don't want to talk about it, does not mean that it does not exist. So, just talking about the peace, that's that's a great start of conversation when you start talking about peace. So I'm looking forward to the conversation this morning.
You are very low. I got a message that your voice, you sound very low. You are all the way over on my end. So I guess it's
Okay.
talk a little
I
louder.
think I have the mic. I think I was talking over the top of the mic. Can you? I hope people can hear me better.
Yeah, let us know if that's better. Let us know if that's better because we want you to hear us. And in that same vein, please remember that the phone lines are open at phone lines are open at KABF. Phone lines are open right now at 501-433-0088, 501-433-0088. Yeah, Tony. Okay, so we're trying to figure out, we've been experiencing some difficulties, so we're going to try to figure this out. Thank you all so much for how you call in, how you send me texts to let me know whether or not you can hear us, because we cannot do this alone. We're talking about the spirit of community. The spirit of Sawubona lives within us right now, so thank you so much. We need you. Caller, you're live on the air. Thanks for calling Community Voices. Caller?
I can barely hear you, but I know what the problem is. That microphone is muted on the soundboard. I do a show there too. The soundboard on the left, if you can hear me, there are red buttons right above the sliders. You just need to hit all of those buttons and unmute those microphones because they're just muted mics.
Okay, thank you.
There's a great big soundboard in front of you and a little one on your left.
Yes, I'm well aware of what you're talking about.
The little one on your left.
I'm well aware of what you're talking
The
about.
slider all the way to the left is the microphone that you're talking into. And then if you look above it, it's a red mute button. Yours is probably off. All the other mics might be muted. You just need to hit the red button above each of those sliders here so that the mics are turned on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I can still barely hear you. Well, listen, in my car.
Okay, caller, I hung you up because you can't hear me. But to let you know that
These buttons was what he's talking about.
but we were not muted though.
No, you weren't.
Yeah,
It's
we
the
were not
mic
muted.
because he changed some things.
So Tony's got a different mic. Tony, when I'm talking to that mic, and let us see if that works. Is my mic working? You all let us know because we've got.
Okay, so.
Is that better? Like, let us know. Because
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Okay, thank you all so much. The mics were not muted. We were dealing with another issue, but thank you, caller. Again, it sounded like James with your friend James on Saturday night. I mean, on Saturday. Oh, maybe it was anyway. I was trying to catch the voice of one of the DJs. Maybe it's the one that comes in on Thursdays after Tuesdays after your girl Lola. Yeah, I think that's who that is. Thank you all so much. Again, we appreciate your help with all of this. And so we're grounding the conversation. I think, Tony, were you still talking about?
No, I was.
You were just okay. Okay, so I want to tell you how I got to this space, and it really happened last Tuesday when I made the announcement about Miss Major. And the work that she's doing that she did and she continues to do through spirit and through energy as a Black woman of trans experience in her advocacy and her activism. I talked about that. And then I also lifted her up to make sure that we understand, we get a better understanding of what critical race theory is all about. Instead of us just walking around here saying, I'm anti-CRT, let's try to gain an understanding before you decide whether or not you agree with it. Because many of us disagree and agree with things that we have not even taken into consideration. We have not done any homework. We haven't done any research. We heard somebody say something and we just ran with it. And so I was offering up to us an opportunity to learn more about what it means when we talk about critical race theory and the term intersectionality that was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw when she says, when you're looking at a single issue, when you're looking at a single issue, the more layers you apply to that issue, the more the outcomes differ. And so when we were talking about Miss Major as a Black woman of trans experience, talking about how she had to fight her entire life just to exist, and then lifted that up along with Jenner Caitlyn Jenner, who is also a woman of trans experience, but a white woman of trans experience, who was then named Woman of the Year. So the whole point of the conversation was to make sure that we talk about intersectionality, that we talk about critical race theory, so that these are just not words that we hear that almost for some of us sound like wah, 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 that we are able to really understand, because it's only when you gain an understanding that you can have a better conversation. A lot of times our conversations are not effective because we are not communicating in a way that demonstrates our understanding, our knowledge, our wisdom around the topic. We're just talking off the top of our heads, and then the conversation is going to dissolve very quickly. And so I brought that up because it's so important to me that for us to really understand what it is we're talking about when we use these acronyms, CRT for critical race theory, and also talking about intersectionality. So for Miss Major to be sitting at the intersection of race and gender identity, and then for both of them, Caitlyn Jenner and Miss Major, sitting at the intersection of living at the intersections of gender identity and race, what does that look like for these two different lives? What are the roads that this world carves, the paths that the world carves for them? And they're two different paths. So that's really what I was talking about. And then Solar Bean called in at some point and said something to the effect, I'm not trying to say verbatim what he said. I'm going to tell you what I heard. Because a lot of times those are two different things, what somebody said and what you hear. And so what I heard was him say that we should not be celebrating people of trans experience because they have some kind of twisted mind or something like that. And I took offense to it. And when I got out in the parking lot, when I was in the parking lot, I was thinking about it. As I was walking, I was thinking about it. As I was driving home, I was thinking about it. And so anytime I'm still thinking about something that long, I got to ask myself, what is it? What is about this statement that makes you so mad? I was so mad that I wanted to spit. I've said this before, that my mom taught me, and I'm only talking about my mama and me, taught me that a woman does not spit. That it's just not, it's uncouth. She used to love to use that word. It's uncouth. And so if I ever get that mad that I feel like I want to spit, that means I'm stepping outside of who my mother groomed me to be, stepping outside of my own home training and becoming somebody else. So before you allow some statement, before you allow some message to knock you off your kilter, as the old folks would say, let's think about this. And so I thought about what it was that bothered me about this statement. What bothered me most about the statement was that I was lifting up the life of a Black woman of trans experience. And here comes a Black man to attack that. And so when I think about this EJI tidbit positioning us only in the public sector legally, in positions of judgment against each other, in positions that would give us the power over another person's body. Because when you're deciding on these cases, when you are called as a member of the jury, sometimes it's life or death in your hands. Because sometimes, literally in Arkansas, we still celebrate capital punishment. So you could be deciding whether or not somebody goes receives the death penalty based on what happens in that courtroom. And so historically pitting us against each other in the courtroom, saying that that's a legal process, we're not thinking too much about it in that space. But if we carry that same energy, which we continue to do, not just through this tidbit that says we were only allowed to speak in judgment of each other, but also when you think about colorism, also when you think about the Willie Lynch letter, like all of these systems that have set us up against each other, we continue to play them out because we won't stop for a minute and ask ourselves, are we ourselves as Black people, have we been weaponized against each other? Why would a Black man come against a Black woman regardless of her gender identity? Here we are saying we need to unite, we need to be the nation, we need to work as one. We say all of those things, but then when it comes down to it, what you're more concerned about is what somebody else planted in your brain. The system of whiteness continues to pit us against each other across all lines of difference, not just race, but even across socioeconomic status. We talk about that when we bring up poor white people. And so what is it going to take for Black folks to say, listen, I know that you used to me, that you think that all of us are suffering from internalized racism, and you expect me to talk bad about my brother, my sister, my gender nonconforming sibling, but that's what I'm not going to do. Now, what I am going to do is fight you. We're going to bind together. We're going to come together to fight, because that's what's most important. I can't imagine, Tony, you've been in the military. Just answer this one question. So, and I'm using the only language I know, so you correct me. You're in the foxhole. That's the only language I know. You're in the foxhole. You prepared to go to war. Something's about to happen. It's about to go down. You receive the order. It's time to go. Do you stop for a moment and look at your what do you call each other? Your fellow
Your comrade.
Your comrade. Do you look at your comrade and say, wait a minute, before we go fight, do you have a penis?
Oh no.
Do you say, oh wait, before we go to fight, are you gay?
No.
Okay, well, why is that important to us now? We're trying to fight. We are at war. We are at war in this country, as it's an anti-Black world we are living in. We are at war. We got to fight all of these systems. And what you want to know is, what difference does that make? Why are you worried about what somebody got? And why are you worried about who they love? And why are you worried about how they love? When there's so many more things we can be worried about. They just talked about the women and the children that are losing their food and their access because of WIC. We're talking about Sarah Huckabee Sanders sent back the money that we could have been using to help us with our social programs. We got all these things to worry about. And you got the nerve. Caller, you're live on the air, KABF 88.3. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone. If I believe that the Bible is the Word of God, which I really don't, anyway, then if I'm going to be, say what they call a Christian or Muslim or whatever, and I believe these books, then as a believer of that, then I would have to stand with what it says. And it really talks against a lot of things that you can't really even talk about in the church no more. It's against homosexuality and various things. Now, that's in the book. I didn't make up the rules. Now, as a child, I was raised, young person, I was raised up in kind of over in the Las Vegas area, Utah. You had your mamas, and they called Black people that have souls. But I grew up to realize it's just the other way around. I understand it. And just because you as a Black person with the divine spark of life in you, it don't mean you're vibrating in the place that you should. You have to elevate your vibration frequency to connect with the divine. Jesus said he came from above. He didn't come from this realm. This realm is different. It's not the light above this. See, we have to understand these things. Now, I'm not going to condemn nobody. It's just like I say, they could have a spark of life with them. I don't know. That ain't for me. But one thing, my journey, I can't afford to let nobody persuade me off of where I am at. And people have a tendency to persuade you to be like them. It's kind of like Black people trying to persuade white people to accept them. That ain't gonna help. See, so I can't get off what I'm doing because somebody else want to make it. I don't like how children get indoctrinated with a lot of different beliefs and things. I mean, that's just me. I ain't telling nobody to think or believe me. Believe what you want to believe. But that's why I stand on all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, and what I usually say, especially on Tuesday nights for the good fight, is what I'm doing is offering up for your consideration, right? So I get it that you don't want to persuade anybody. I get it that you're not trying to push anybody to believe something that they don't believe, and I'm not trying. And you don't want anybody to feel forced into something that they're not, that doesn't sit well with them. I get you. I feel that. I'm like that too. What I'm more concerned about is when we have these convictions that we want to stand 10 toes down on. I'm talking about 10 toes down. Much of the time, the convictions that you have are not rooted in a full understanding of what you're talking about. That's my point. Because if you want to talk about the Bible, if you want to talk about what the Bible says, I can take that same Bible that praises one thing and condemns something else in the same book. Whatever you're looking for in the Bible, you can find. Whatever you are looking for in the Bible, you can find. People who are anti-abortion, they root their stance in the Bible. People who are pro-choice, they root their stance in the Bible. You can use the Bible any way you want to use it. But do you know that the Bible is a political reference? The way that the Bible came to be was political. The way that people, council, the way that the council voted on which book should be in the Bible. Like, we don't talk about that part. We don't talk about the part of the Bible, especially the Song of Solomon, that's about a woman who's having sex out of wedlock. We don't talk about that. You only want to talk about the scripture that says that you're not supposed to burn. It's better to marry than to burn. So we pick and choose what we want, and then we stand 10 toes down only on what we want, and then we won't give not just the person the space to breathe in the Bible differently. You won't even give the Bible the space to breathe differently, despite the fact that the Bible itself says it's the letter that killeth. It's the spirit that gives life. So that's what I'm more concerned about. Why do you stand 10 toes down on something? Do you realize your complicity? Do you understand you have been weaponized? Do you know the division that you're creating? That's what I'm more concerned about.
Yeah, and I agree with the one thing that we fail. I was, this weekend, I was in Shreveport dealing with some things, and the one thing that we fail to look at, and Denise, you brought this up. We're sitting here, or people are having conversations about whether about transgender. They're having conversations about so many different things, but the conversation should be about, hey, you have children and mothers who are losing their services. You have people who are homeless. You have people who don't get the mental care they need. You have people who can't have affordable housing. And subsequently, the majority of those people who are facing these issues are people of color, Black people. And if you only focus on a judgment, in your opinion, because when you come against somebody who has the right and the life to live how they want to live, that's who they are. If that's their choice, if that's their life, if that's what they believe, then fine. But at the end of the day, the same things that may be affecting others are affecting you. And if that's the only thing you can look at, that's one of the problems, is that we only look at the thing that is affecting us, and we're not realizing that if there's some way for people who are who believe in the equality of everybody else to move in that direction. And so where there's, I think it said, a house divided will never stand. And as long as a people we're divided, we can never stand.
And so the song says, my peace cost me my people. If you're going to gain peace in your life to make sure that you're living the way that you believe that you're supposed to live, and for me, that means I'm living fighting every day until we're free. I'm fighting every day. And then sometimes you got to lose some relationships. Sometimes you got to lose some people. But I also feel like we have to ask ourselves this question as well. Wait, hold on. Caller, you're loud on the air, KABF. Thanks for calling.
It's like a little disrespect. The Bible, all time.
Can you hear me? Can you understand?
All the time, people find that they don't want that. So yes, you can find something to justify faith, that's wrong. But I also understand that control on a book, what they say God is Satan, that God is wrong. It's in the Bible, in the New Testament, there are a couple times that you said, right? Yes, but that's cool. And yes, a lot of things are tough. This is why some of y'all really don't know how to put my I had to try to follow one within myself to try to get these truths. I know some people, I can't go up to teach it all in the time. That's reality. You know, now somebody wonders where God is God did it, and they heard God did. I'm not going to try to offer to hate you, but that's, you know, where it's part of this. I'm not really into, you know, but don't try to influence him what that is right for me, because I know somebody, I know he's got to be right on his track. And they need to know that we need to know if you want to move, if you want to get back in town, then you've got to change the freaking vibration. I don't care what you call it. We are not very low. People don't want to change the lifestyle. We want to be free without miles hungry. You think it's something people wait for, but that's the show is going on the top. That's reality.
I think I'm having trouble hearing. Tony, can you you said you could hear him? Can you summarize? I actually, could you hear him? And you said yes.
I can hear him, but it kept breaking up.
Well,
I couldn't.
Yeah, what I think I heard was the caller saying that we have to live on higher vibrations. Our vibrations are low right now. We just try to figure out how to live on a higher vibration, and that's what he's more concerned about. Not so much trying to push the Bible, but just trying to make sure that you understand what it is that you believe in yourself, and that you should be moving and navigating through life based on what you know in the core of yourself. That's what I think the caller said. Call if I did not get that right, please call back. But I know I was having difficulty understanding you, and so I just wanted to give that little bit of a summary in case other people were having difficulty hearing you as well. But here's my question though around all of this. When you start thinking about what your convictions are and what you believe, then when I think about white Christian nationalists whose voices seem so loud right now, so loud. So when you ask them, not even when you ask them, you research, you don't have to talk to them if you don't want to, but if you are doing the research, or if you are in the room with them, if you're listening to the channels that they listen to, or if you're logging in on the networks that they're on, when you start talking about the issues that they have, they are anti-trans, they are anti-Black, they are anti-DEI, they are anti-abortion, they are pro-gun. So if you sit with yourself and you say these are my issues, and the same issues you have are on the same docket as the white Christian nationalists, to me that ought to give you pause. Like what in me aligns with how is it possible for me to align myself with all of this, and these people that I believe? Because when you just talk about white Christian nationalists, when you just say those words, then people have all these beliefs, people have all these opinions, people say a whole lot of things. But when you ask this question, how much of your beliefs, how many of your convictions align with them, that's an entirely different conversation. And so you don't want to have that conversation, because then it forces you to say, hey, I'm being weaponized. And that's exactly what you are being. And so what I'm asking us to do is think about how we use our voice, how we use our power, how we use ourselves in relationship with other folks. Because the Spirit of Sawubona says we're bound by our humanity, not by our gender identity, not by our race, not by our gender, not by our sexual orientation, not by our socioeconomic status, not by our educational level, not by our housing. That's not how we are bound. We're bound by humanity. What would it take for you to live in that? Caller, you're live on the air, KABF at 8.3. Thanks for calling. Okay, sorry, caller. Please call back. I can keep going.
You know, going back to something we've been saying all morning, one of the things that society now is working to do is take away the ability for people to be educated openly and to think critically. They want to indict it. I was looking in the paper yesterday, and they were talking about how 90% of the vouchers, education program vouchers, whatever they call it, is going to religious and parochial schools. So they're indoctrinating people or children to believe a certain thing. But what happens is when people are confronted with the truth, the real truth, it's hard for them to digest it, and it's hard for them to get into that conversation because they close their ears, because it makes them uncomfortable. And when you see what's going on, when you look at what's happening continuously in this society, if you are uneducated and you don't know all the facts, then you are basically walking in chaos. Because the minute the facts come to you, it's going to be difficult for you to believe it.
Caller, you're live on the air, KABF 88.3 FM. Thanks for calling Community Voices.
Yes, good morning. Peace and love to all.
Good morning.
Sawubona, gorgeous. Now, if you don't mind, let me say what I said the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And what I said was a male wanting to be a female or a female wanting to be a male is not a correct condition of the mind. I know we have this condition in just about all of our families. So quite naturally, we do love all of our siblings. Now, but what I try to stress the most is the system of white supremacy racism. They control mostly all of that area. Well, they control education, entertainment, economics, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Now, we were taught by Brother Neely Fuller that once they have us on the wrong angle with the sex, it's a mop-up job in all the other areas of people activity. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I love all of our people. But at the same time, it's not a correct condition of the mind. And I also said the ignorance that we spread one to another is one of the worst poisons. So I'm saying we don't want this to spread. We want soldiers. We want, well, if you know the strategies that they use to not just divide us, but to really eliminate us through the abortions and everything else, through the foods, we have a long way and a hard road to travel. But at the same time, we can do it with peace and love. So at the same time, like I say, we got to have peace and love for each other. Again, peace and love to all.
Okay, so it just boggles my mind when you talk sometimes, because there's so many things that I'm like, yes, I agree with you. Then why? Then the other side of me, I mean, the next statement that comes up in my mind is, so why you ain't living what you're talking about? And so I agree that we have to be careful with the way the system has indoctrinated us, the way that we've been taught, we've been conditioned to believe. So Tony, when you talked about people learning the truth, my own experience. So I was indoctrinated with religion, and I think I've shared that story. And if I haven't, I need to share it more. But I'm a cradle, what they call a cradle Christian. That when I was born into this world, I was born into a Christian household, and that's all I knew all of my life, and that's what I practiced all of my life. That's how I lived. That's what I breathed. That's what I thought. And then when there was violence in my home, by the time I turned 8, I got baptized for the first time at 8, because I'm like, oh, I need Jesus, because that's the only person that I knew that could help, because I had been going to church my whole life. And then I get to seminary and I started learning about the Bible, not about Jesus. I'm talking about the Bible. It knocked the wind out of me. And so being confronted with the truth, what Tony was talking about, it's not just uncomfortable, but for people like me, you have to redefine the whole essence of who you are. You take away my identity, because I identified as a Christian. That's how I identified. I wasn't thinking about Black at the time. I wasn't thinking about anything other than Christian at the time. So to get me to shine a light on what the Bible is really about, to shine a light on what's really happening, to shine a light on how it really got here, to shine a light on the lies that they told and all of the politics that knocked me off of my center. And that was the most uncomfortable, I've never felt that way again in my life. I've never felt that way again. Feeling like I'm dangling, like I'm suspended in midair, like I can't find my footing, like I don't have a foundation, like I don't have a ground to walk on. That is an upsetting experience, but it's necessary, because as the song says, you gotta give up chaos. Because all of this stuff that they're teaching us, all of the stuff that you're putting in your head, even from Neely Fuller, you got to trace it back. Because I started tracing back to the Nation of Islam since last Tuesday. Because I'm like, is the Nation of Islam rooted in Christianity? Like, did it take some of its principles? Like, we've got to do the work to figure out why it is that we believe what we believe. And I agree with both of you all. I agree with the caller before, Solar Bean. You got to believe for yourself. I'm not trying to tell you what to believe. And I think that message is to you, Solar Bean. You can't tell me that my mind ain't right, because I'm going to give people who have trans experience as much dignity and integrity as they already have. I'm going to honor that. You can't tell me my mind is not right. Now, you can try to persuade somebody else, but you can't persuade me. And the whole point of the question is, why do you have to persuade anybody? What I'm doing is lifting up, I'm enlightening, shining a light on something for you to take a deeper look. Whatever conclusions you draw are fine with me, as long as you take the deeper look. And that's what we're missing in this country, the deeper look.
The deeper look, and you're right. And understanding understanding the true identity of this country. And when I mean the true identity of this country, is that this country was founded on a false premise. It was founded on violence. It was founded on inequality. It was founded on injustice. It was founded on racism. This is the bedrock of this country. And anything you have to change, you have to go to the bedrock, the foundation that it sits on. And part of that foundation is this issue of religion. Religion has created so much of a divide in this country, and people don't want to separate it. Because at the end of the day, it's not up to me to judge anybody on how they live, what they believe, or whatever. But if we're going to move together, just like Denise, you brought up about the Army. When I was in the Army, the one thing that we learned on the first day of boot camp, within the first hours, they looked at us and said, this is your brother, this is your sister, this is your comrade. You look out for each other and you move as one. Didn't nobody care about, I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your sexism. I don't care about that. What I care about is that we are moving together. You got my back. As long as society is able to divide you and not give you, and you're not willing to put aside your judgment and your righteousness to be able to move with others, we will continue to live in this chaos.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm trying to figure out, because one of the other things that Solar Bean said last week, he didn't say it this time, he said it last week. He said, I love you and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And so I think that we also need to take a deeper look. We don't have time to do that today, but I do think that we should put on the parking lot agenda that we should take a deeper look into that word love. Like, how you loving me and judging me at the same time? How you gonna love me and say, I got to accept your love, it ain't nothing you can do about it? Like, we use this love word, we just throw it around like it's anything. Like, I love pizza, I love you, and then I love French fries, and then I love mustard more than I love ketchup. Like, what is this love stuff that we're talking about? And there's nothing in this life that anybody can offer me that I don't have a choice to receive or to deny or to reject. That's the power within me. Even if it's love, I have the opportunity to say no to somebody else's love. We have to go back to what the caller said. If we would just get to know ourselves and understand the divine essence that we are, we really don't even need a book. I don't need the Bible to tell me that I'm divine. I don't need the Bible to tell me that I'm powerful. I don't need the Bible to tell me that I was created in excellence. I don't need the Bible to tell me that. I don't need any book to tell me that. I know that for myself. And if we could get to that space where we're speaking from the core of who we know ourselves to be, that has nothing to do with the body at all, but it's all about the spirit, it's all about the energy, it's all about the vibrations. You talking about being powerful. The system of whiteness definitely would not be able to withstand blackness if we could do that. But we don't study ourselves the way they have obviously studied us, because the white people know we are brilliant. Whiteness knows we are excellent. Whiteness knows that we can outdo them, outthink them, outrun them, outjump them. The whiteness knows that. That's why they come for us so hard. And what we doing? We over here talking about, you shouldn't be trained. It's 10 o'clock, y'all. It is 10 o'clock. Time for your girl Lola. She is already here, ready to go with Jazzy Tuesdays. And she's going to get started with the women, with the ladies. And so I'm going to get us started right now, too, as we sign off from Community Voices. We'll be right back here next Tuesday, 9 to 10 a.m. At KABF 88.3, where we are the voice of the people. Here is Caught Up in the Rapture by Anita Baker. We'll see y'all soon.
Caught up in the